Simo, does the McInnes upgrade mean he's playing, or is he just so you can play him if you need to?
The second part of that answer. Yeah, we'll take him over to Adelaide. We'll give Vardy every chance to play. It's more about can he handle the pain with Vardy rather than the injury. So along with Duggan, we'll take him over and test him late. So just with the travel, you've got to give him to the last minute, some of these guys, and we'll do that with both those guys. But we'll take all three emergencies over. So we'll have a few tests tomorrow to see if they're available.
So you name both and just bring all
three? Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So with Vardy, you said it's just the pain, so he's managed the injuries not considered.
Yeah, it's the recovery and can you handle, your body goes into certain instincts when you play with a bit of a sore or any part of your body, and it's just can he get past that in terms of protecting with the role he's playing and how important that role is this week. So we'll test him out tomorrow. We just want to leave it to the last minute. It's a bit early to be testing him this morning, so we'll do it tomorrow.
With Port, I think mainly playing Ryder in the ruck pretty much. Do you need to have him and Giles together, or McInnes, or can you go with one? Yeah,
we need a backup ruckman no matter what. So, whether Vardy or Giles start in the ruck, you need someone to support. And with our ruck profile, they're not quite capable of just punching out 4 quarters on their own. So, whether that's Vardy or Fraser or McGovern or Darling, you need support. So, that's why we need 2.
Are you more reluctant to shift McGovern from down there?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. It's a difficult one for us because I think he's got something to offer up forward, but he provided a fair bit of stability down back last week. So, thinking about opposition and how they scout us, I think, they'd be pretty happy if he was up forward. But having said that, I still think there's opportunity to go there if he needs to.
Is Vardy's injury anything like JK's from a few years ago, where he was able to manage it through?
Yeah, it's not far off. Yeah, probably more about the muscle rather than any tendons and ligaments this time around. So, like I said, we'll test it tomorrow. We're pretty open with it. It's either right or it's not right. We won't be making any late changes pre-game. It'll just be make a decision tomorrow and get on with it.
Watching the second half against Hawthorn and then the first half against Fremantle on the weekend, it seemed like 2 different teams. Have you managed to kind of put your finger on how to close that gap?
Oh, it's the biggest test for us, isn't it? To get that consistency in our game, and regardless of where we play, that's what we're looking for. And until we do that, I think there's always going to be question marks about us, whether we travel or not, or whether we play good sides or sides that we potentially should beat. I think until we get that right, we won't press the top 4, and top 8's always going to be a challenge.
Do you consider why, though, you travel well to Adelaide, and you go to a ground this weekend where you have a good record against good teams?
Yeah. Look, it's the debate's always going to be there about what ground you play at or who you play at. The facts are the facts at the moment. We've struggled at the MCG the last few times, and we've gone all right at Adelaide Oval. So, but it's not something that I'm not looking at that this week. We play well there in the past, so that means we're going to play well there this weekend. It's just too simplistic to look at. You've got to look at the opposition and how you're going with your consistency at the moment, rather than what happened round 5 last year.
How have Port improved, do you think? I mean, they look like a better side than they were last year.
Yeah, well, I suppose at the moment they've got unbelievable availability. I think to have everyone available by round 7 is just a remarkable effort. So they're doing something right off field and how they prepare. On field, they've got that really good balance at the moment with the contested ball and the top 1 or 2 for attack and top 1 or 2 for defence. So that gives you confidence in all areas of the game, and you're not going to be perfect in all areas every week, but when you're so consistent, you can go in every game with that confidence. So, yeah, across the board, I think they've improved in almost every area, and their leaders are playing their role as well.
Robbie Gray, he's so damaging up forward and doesn't need many touches to be damaging. What do you do with him? Do you have someone who can go forward and mid, or do you stay with him the whole day? Or?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think him along with Wingard, who's they're playing a lot more midfield time and getting that spread right up forward. It's dangerous to try and lock down someone like that. We did a little bit of work with Yowie on the weekend with Fife. That might be an option for us, but there's no guarantees on that. There's plenty of guys down back who can hopefully do the job, but you're going to need help. Yeah, it's really hard to lock someone down as a backman on a forward because of the changes and the rotations. It's a bit different if you're just on ball. So it might be a combo, I think, this week.
Were you happy with the 2 younger midfielders, Doug and Shee? It looked like they were stepped up in that first half?
Yeah, they look. We need our leaders to play well, in particular when we travel against sides who are in really good form. But there's some good signs with our younger players coming through. I think Barras and Duggan and Sheed and Nelson and these guys are really important for our future. And I know we're a mature list and a mature side, and expectations are high, but we've got to keep an eye on that. And getting Mutimer into the side last week was good for us. We've just signed him on for another couple of years, so it's important we keep an eye on the longer term as well.
Yeah. Duggan, is he okay?
Duggan?
Yeah.
Well, he's just got a corky, so that's why we're taking 3 emergencies. The corky's fine. It's just trying to let it settle a little bit in other areas of his body. So it'll be a test tomorrow. But if he's right, he'll play. If he's not, he won't.
How's Sam Mitchell with his ankles? That's something that's just going to improve week by week, even if he doesn't play or if he does play.
Yeah, he's carrying it at the moment. Yep. So I'm assuming there's lots of players who carry injuries like that into games this time of year. So he's fine. When he puts his hands up to play, he's 100% in the way we see it. So we're not managing him at all. When he's right, he just plays.
Does that mean, do you use him differently, or you use him exactly the same? What, would you put him more off half back, or do you keep him in the middle regardless?
No, you can't afford to. If he's not right to play in the midfield or down back, then you probably can't play. So we just play him where he needs to.
So he's put his hand up to play. He's fine.
Who's Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, this is probably a last week conversation. He got through the game, so I haven't even spoken to him about it. He's trained all week. So
Mutimer, does he get another go at it? There was a quiet derby, but it was a big stage to be thrown into.
Yeah, no, he'll play. Yep, it's important that you give him a little bit of a go. And we've done it before. We've played a first game for one game, and it's slightly unfair. But we'll give him another go at it. And he's playing out of position a tiny bit. He's a midfielder. The pinch hits forward, and at the moment we're playing him forward because of Jamie Cripps going out of the side and getting that balance right. So we'll give him a bit of time.
Has the Josh Hill had a great game in the derby? The Cripps-Josh Hill combination, does that tell you anything with Cripps out of the team that maybe it loosens Hill up or vice versa?
Oh no, I think Hilly would appreciate Cripper being into the side. Yeah, he's a bit of a barometer for us, Hilly, with his pressure and what he can do off the ball. He's been reasonably consistent this year. There's been a couple of poor games, and that's coincided with our poor performance. So no, I think when Cripper's in the side, we all walk a bit higher. So internally, we really rate him. So we're missing him at the moment.
The AFL was meeting today just to discuss a couple of the rules, third man up and
Are they?
deliver it. What do you
That'd be
hope
good.
comes out of that?
I've stated before about when you make rule changes, you just got to let it adapt and grow and evolve. And perhaps when you bring the changes in, you do it a year in advance. Do it through a JLT series and let it settle, and look at all the ways that coaches can manipulate and what trends ripple from that. And then once you're clear about where it's going, then bring the rule in. So we've probably just gone a bit arse end, really, of how we've gone about it. So I'm assuming that they'll come with some consistency and stability with it, and I can't see too many changes.
No, so if they did decide to change it mid-year or anything like that, would you be...
I hope not. Whatever the changes are, we just let us deal with it. To change it again would create more issues, unless it just went back to where it used to be. So, but I'm not on the rules committee, and I don't make those decisions.
How much time do you spend on those rules with your players at training, or is it just a pre-season thing? I mean, telling them to avoid the boundary or whatever?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
No, look, there's, I suppose if you're in that flow where you just, everything you're doing is working, you can look at those things in detail. They're just tricks. But there are ripples of rule changes that, you just don't see until there's a bit of a volume of evidence to see what's happening with it. So things will settle. But no, we don't go in with massive strategies how to beat it or take advantage of it.
Is there any update on Nick Nandui?
Yeah, look, he's slightly turned the corner in the last week or two. I've seen him around the club and out in the track a lot more, and the stability of the knee's looking really good. It's still going to be touch and go this season, but I think there's still hope there.
When do you think you make a call, a final call on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I ask that every couple of days to our docs, but we're not putting that pressure on Nick or the docs at the moment. Well, I am, but they're not actually giving me an answer. So that I'd say in the next 4 to 6 weeks there's going to be probably a direction with it, but as long as there's a faint hope, I think we'll keep going for it.
Why do you think it could be longer than a 12-month injury? You see a lot of players even after 10 months.
Yeah, he's 115 kilos. He's built like a racehorse. So, if you're 80 kilos and play a different position, it makes sense, doesn't it, that you'll come back a little bit earlier. And there's always ups and downs too with the recovery. So at the moment he's in an upward trend, but there's always ups and downs with it. So when you're an athlete like Nick is, it just takes a bit longer.
Does where you finish or where maybe you could finish and your chances of winning flag influence your decision?
No, I haven't thought about that at all. No. Honestly, I've not thought one bit about that. It's more about just Nick when he's ready.
And is Sam's presence more vital around the midfield when you have an opposition ruckman who not only wins taps but can direct them? Ryder's a pretty good director of taps, and Sam seems to read taps very quickly and be where the ball's going to fall.
Well, it's one thing we've had the luxury over the few years with Nick and Lysett being in the ruck, that we've had probably a lot of supply. So our mids that we've previously had to adapt to probably not winning as many hit-outs as we used to. I think Sam's coming from a club where, it was always a competitive ruck outfit, but perhaps not a dominant one. So his ability to read opposition hits and strategise and plan all that's something that he's passed on to our other mids, and along with Dean Cox with the centre bounce strategy, it's all part of it now. We've got to really put some work into the opposition.